Good evening and welcome to Active Citizens Parliament. My name is Sharon Chuku, and joining me in the studio as always, I have with me my co-host in person of Ifoma Oji. Good evening, how are you doing?
Great greetings to you.
Great, I like that. So prayers. We're giving British this evening. Welcome. Also joining us, we have our guest and analyst in person of Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing very well.
We can see that. So we are loving the smiles this evening. Is that a blush I see? All right, we're going straight to the headlines for this evening, if time permits us. But first, let's start with the confrontation between Officer Yerima and FCT Minister Wike that has continued to generate attention. The officer was recently stopped by the police for driving with a concealed number plate, followed by a reported assassination attempt now under investigation. Security agencies are yet to confirm any connection between the incidents. Over in Kebbi State, terrorists attacked a girls' secondary school, killing the vice principal and abducting several students. Rescue operations and military response efforts are currently underway. And in the National Assembly, Senator Ned Woko is facing new cross-border misconduct allegations. His office has not yet issued a formal response, and investigations are still ongoing. Before we go straight to the topics that we have for today, let's first of all take a look at this video where Officer Yerima was having an interesting conversation with the FCT police.
He has started making a video upon his wrong deed. He came with a car plate number covered and we stop him. He says he's an officer. Identify yourself, and he cannot identify himself. The best thing he could do is to start insulting
everybody.
Do you now accept that what you did is wrong?
You are the one that did wrong things.
Go and report.
You are the one doing wrong things because you said you are an officer and we asked you to identify yourself and you could not do. The best thing you could do is to telling people that everybody are nonsense.
No, I didn't even see her. I didn't see.
He has started making.
I called it an interesting conversation. Now, there are a lot of comments surrounding that viral video. We're going to take some from X. Loco G says, this thing police want to start will be the end of this government. Now, today I start to drive without plate number. Useless Yahoo boys are driving with covered numbers. If Khaki boys starts with una politicians, them go cry you. Wike wants to humiliate military. I laugh. Holy Adao says, I am 100% sure they recognized him immediately they saw him. I think they are witch hunting him because of what he said. In quote, I'm talking and police officer is talking. D1 says, when you officers are done with your games, go and show it to the person who sent you. Confrontations with drivers on our roads. Please, they should tell us something else. And finally, Sadiq Idris is saying, so police now record people at checkpoints, but if you try to record them, they will seize your device, meta glasses or phone. Wonders shall never end. You see, for this particular story, this is just one half of it. Now, the other half is that there was an alleged assassination attempt on the life of Yerima along Abuja roads, and this is just merely hours ago. A lot of reactions have come out. Even the police have come out to deny that such a thing happened, but we've not heard anything from Yerima himself. But the Wike aide, right? Wike's aide in person of what's his name, Lily Owoleye, came out to say that he should come out and explain to Nigerians how an ordinary confrontation with the police is an assassination, and that Yerima is just selling all of these rumors that he was attacked along Abuja Highway. But let's get your thoughts, Ifoma.
Wow. Let me start with now.
Nah, it's very good to start somewhere.
Watching this video, I'm like, what is wrong with Nigerians? What is wrong with this police? What is wrong? What is God, I beg you. Seriously, I'm trying to, form something out of what I just watched, and I'm finding it difficult. Now, he has, according to them, They said that he covered that there was no plate number.
No, that he covered the plate number
in the vehicle. I think according to the PRO, they said that for people to cover their people to drive without a plate number, that there is an exception for people with pennant, what is it called? I don't know, but they say it's for high-ranking officers. Then that if you are driving and you don't have your plate number displayed properly, that you will be impounded. I think so. If I am to talk about this particular video, I would say maybe there is he breached the institution, the laws of kind of blurring.
But Abuja residents have come out to say that it's not a big deal, that every day on the road they see people driving.
Is different. I'm actually telling the part of the law. You understand? Okay. It's actually unlawful for one to drive without a plate number. It's kind of screams that is it because you are a high-ranked officer, you will not be accountable, you will not be held accountable. That aside. And then the other side, I don't really understand. It does not make sense that police officers will now be recording conversations when they stop you for a check in a checkpoint. It does not make a logical sense to me at all. If you feel like he is not having a plate number, you question him. You don't have to record him because you realize that he is Yerima. It does not make sense. What is going on with these people? Is this what they sent you out in the road or in the streets to go and do? You've left your occupation, you've left your job description to record people. Now let me equally bring it to our notice that this same security personnel, when they are being recorded, is either they seize your device
or they smash it.
Exactly, or they smash it, or they give you one sanction or the other to carry out, and you're recording someone else because maybe he's not having a plate number, which I already kind of talked on. But at the same time, this does not make sense now. It's not everything that you see on social media because maybe it's trending, you now want to trend as
it's interesting that the Nigerian police, or let's just be specific, the FCT police are now very close to, they've now become publishers as well, creating content. I'm coming to you, Mr. Ugochukwu. Let's have your take, first of all, on that incident with Yerima on the road and the alleged assassination attempt on his life.
Okay, so I want to make something clear that it is not uncommon for citizens, and I think like Ifeoma said, high-ranking government officials to move around without plate numbers.
With covered plate numbers.
Covered plate numbers. It is not uncommon. In fact, even individuals who feel like they are first-class citizens, even it is legal. There are ways you go to, and then you get a customized plate number. So I don't know the level of hierarchy Yerima has in the Navy, but like I have come out to say that it is not uncommon for people to have closed numbers, plate numbers. So for the police to do that, I just feel it is them being petty. That was a very weird and uncommon reaction to give, because he is, in quotes, Yerima, the officer who disgraced Wike, the FCT minister. So I think what they did was, it was so petty. There was no, and even to the extent of starting to record him, I'm surprised. I didn't know that the police record people.
It's our first time as well of seeing that.
But then on the assassination attempt, the reason I feel that is not true, the reason why I feel it's not true is because I have come to have a personal assessment of what happened between FCT Minister Wike and Yerima. When it first happened, personally, I was happy because Wike finally met his match. Someone who could stand up to him. But over time, I have read analysis from different people, and I just want to clarify it myself that what the officer did that day was very, very, very wrong. In as much as he was bold and he stood up to Wike, it is very wrong. Because let's look at it, and let me tell you why I feel it is wrong. Any other person can have a different opinion. Yes. First is the land in question is in Abuja, and according to the Land Use Act, governors of states, and in this case the FCT minister, have right to inspect every land under their jurisdiction, and for that land to be in Abuja, it is under the jurisdiction of the governor, and in this case the FCT minister. So, and we already know that the FCT minister has the right to inspect, reallocate, and even revoke any land, but not as he wills. You only revoke a land when it is for the use of the public, and then you have to heavily compensate whoever owns the land. So that is first. Wike was well in his rights inspecting the land. Then secondly, where I feel because some people are saying that, well, Yerima was just
acting on others.
On that particular acting on others again, the Supreme Court in 2023 also ruled that against, I think it was Woko versus the federal government, that officers, that's officers in the military, that they have a moral obligation to know when others are, because when others are wrong, because when you were taking an oath, you took an oath to serve the country, the nation, and not whoever is your
general, your commander.
That is it. So, but then it is dicey, because when you start to talk about moral obligation, it's so are you trying to say that whenever a high officer gives a command, that the receiving officer has to now
check and start thinking, is this morally right?
Sorry, let me round up. So that's why I feel but then Wike was wrong, very, very wrong morally, by using abusive words on a uniformed soldier. He was well in his rights, but his approach was completely wrong. Wike is an FCT minister. He could have done better things than abusing
insulting him,
calling him a fool, and then using a letter on calling to say he didn't
call him a fool.
Now, let me say something quite quickly. I think the discussion we had last week concerning this whole saga between Wike and Yerima, we identified and we established the fact that both of them were wrong. You understand? Wike was in his right, but his approach was totally wrong. Now, Yerima was in his right. His approach was okay. You understand? But at the same time, it was equally wrong because of the fact that his service is to the nation and not to a parcel of land. He doesn't have any business doing with a land. You understand? But like I said, we mentioned that day, he was acting on others. So you can't come and say because there is a constitution or because of anything like that, you now disobey your boss. He was rightly acting on others. But that aside, now what Nigerians were celebrating is the fact that Wike has already done, he has eating more than he can chew. He has done a lot, and it's as if no one, including Yerima, including a lot of governors in other states, is able to stand against Wike, including maybe the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So to see him being put in his place is actually what Nigerians were celebrating.
All right. No, I feel like at the end of the day, you people are saying the same thing, right? Because he's saying the exact same thing, right? Saying that even though he liked the fact that Wike finally met his match, if I'm correct, that's what you said, that he finally met his match, but on the basis of the law, that even the officer Yerima had the moral right or the legal right backed by the Nigerian constitution to have said no to the order that was given to him. But if she is also coming out to say that from the perspective of the general public, right? And it's just that people are happy that someone finally stood up. So whether it was legal or it was illegal, that's what they are talking about.
I understand that, but do you know what I fear is the way the public is giving appraisal to this young officer, to the military. Do you know what it does? It makes the military feel superior and infallible. And then why we are okay with it, me inclusively, is because it's Wike. But let's assume it's another civilian, then we will now start saying that the military, they are now taking laws into their hands.
Exactly. That's why people's appraisal would not have been like this if it was another person. Exactly. It is exactly like this. It has gained this momentum because of the person in question of Mr. Wike. Now, thank you very much for that input. But if you have your reservations as well in the comment section, let us know as we move on to the second story for the evening. Unfortunately, we've recorded a terrorist attack in Kebbi State on a particular school, happening in a particular school where some girls were abducted, and the vice principal in the situation where he was trying to rescue some of his students was killed. Now, rescue operations and military response have still been very slow, but it is going on their way. Now, let's talk about what has happened now, and let's get your take on that, and the fact that this is closely related to the Borno school student attack years ago.
I was actually coming to that. I remember on the 14th to 15th of April 2014, about 276 children were kidnapped from Chibok, Borno State, and I think about 57 of them during the whole abduction process, some of them escaped, and then some of them were equally rescued by the military. And I remember then this particular lady, Lydia Simon, came out in the open then to kind of give her experience, tell people the experience of how those girls that were abducted then were harassed, how those girls were pushed, how those girls were pushed into a lot of violence, a lot sexual violence, and a lot of early marriages then. And I know how people campaigned then. I know how people protested. I know the mantra, return our girls. I remember the mothers of these children coming out in the open to cry. I remember how Nigerians were wailing on this particular incident. And to see this incident, something that is similar to this incident, happening again. Nigeria, where are we? Where are we? Why have the entire country failed its citizens? Why? Sharon, to be honest with you, I didn't really want to discuss anything concerning this particular issue because I'm putting myself in the parents, in the siblings of these people's children that they kidnapped. Now, these Chibok girls that were kidnapped, most of them gave birth. Most of them don't even know their father, they don't know their mother. Imagine the environment that they left, they're being left to survive in, and then we're witnessing another incident. How many years ago, 10 years ago, we're experiencing the same thing again? What is wrong with Nigerian government? Why is it that we're always focused on ban A treatment every single time? Ban A. What happened to enforcing? This is happening in the north, for crying out loud. It happened before, it is happening again, and we are focusing on irrelevant thing. I remember, was it last week or last 2 weeks, we are talking about the federal government doing this what is it called, the dining table, and I'm like, when your people are plunged in hunger, your people are plunged in a lot of insecurity, people are dying day by day, and the only thing you could actually prioritize is making Guinness Book of Record. Jesus Christ, pour me water, somebody, because these children, it pains me. It pains me, goes deep. I'm not.
It is a sad situation, and that is why as a nation we need to come together to ensure that situations like this, when they happen, we are able to hold somebody accountable. Now, when this was happening, they recorded slow security response during the time of this abduction. I'm coming to you, Mr. Ugochukwu. Years later, where we saw the massive abduction in Borno State, to see that happening in Kebbi State, do we think that the Nigerian security has done enough to prepare itself or shield itself against attacks like the Borno State attack?
You know, the hearing of this incident saddens me, honestly. You know, just yesterday, I think I was reading where there was a peace summit, a kind of a peace deal between bandits and the government. I think that was in Kanu State.
They've been having that peace deal.
Yes.
I think that was in Kanu State, I'm not sure, but and now to hear of this again, it only saddens me more. It shows how unsafe Nigeria is.
Exactly.
And the other day, the US, I think they mentioned some unsafe zones in Nigeria, and the only thing the government has been doing then is to send out their aides to go and defend, deny, and there is no plausible deniability to all these causes. The evidence is clear. They should try to bring out solutions. You know, sometimes I just feel their response to these issues is just inhuman, because how can this is no longer about party allegiance, or how can you stay, you live, and then you hear of these things every day. People are dying, people are being kidnapped, and you worry less about it, and other irrelevant things are your priority. Then I think I also read where a government aide was saying that whenever he hears about the killings, that he feels like crying.
It's not. It's actually the Senate, the president of the Senate House.
Exactly. I know it was someone from the government. Why are you crying? Why are you crying?
Without
you
doing
are
anything.
in a position. You are in a position to solve these problems. Crying, you will not do anything. You know, they scream that Nigeria is a sovereign country, and yes, we are being invaded time and time again. It hurts so much.
So it's as though the only invasion that the Nigerian government is scared of is foreign invasion from the United States. But when they are being invaded by terrorists, they seem to have a rather very, very different approach to the issue. Now, let's talk about, first of all, the impact of this attack right now, the current impact. This is coming at a very wrong time. There's never a right time for crimes like this, but this is coming at a time when Nigeria has been labeled a country of particular concern, and the United States has even started a wide probe into the killings going on in Nigeria. And it is this same time that we are seeing a lot of abductions and kidnapping. Let's talk about, because you mentioned something about people not feeling safe. Let's talk about how the community or close communities where this happened, how this is going to affect them and their day-to-day life. Ifoma.
This, like Gochuku said, and you rightfully said, it means that Borno State in particular, in fact, the entire north is not safe for anybody to dwell in. This is the only thing I can make out of it. And the government does not care. It is so scary that you cannot happily live in a boarding school without one eye closed. It is quite unfortunate that even people in the community don't have the arms to protect their own children. And the government that they beckon upon cannot even protect them, cannot even give them arms to protect themselves. It is such a sad situation that if I talk from now till tomorrow, I'm not even seeing any results, because the case of the Chibok girls, what has been done over time? Nothing at all. So my heart, first of all, goes out to the family, because I know that this whole incident, I know how they felt when Chibok girls incident happened, and I know that it's more like for them reliving that moment again. My heart goes out to them. I pray if for anything, but if the security operative, if the military could actually do the right thing this time around, I'm done talking about Yerima this time around. These are people's daughters. These are futures of tomorrow. These are people that will birth people that will stand against government positions tomorrow. These are people that will change a lot of things in Nigeria tomorrow. We need to do something to secure the lives of these children.
Thank you very much, Ifoma Oji, for your contribution. Coming to you, Mr. Gochuku, just finally on this particular story, let's talk to the communities that have been affected, to the parents, and even to the schools nearby that have heard this terrible news. How do we think that they can better prepare themselves, if there is even any prevention against situations like this?
What can I say? How exactly should they even prevent these situations? They cannot do it on their own. That is the reason why we have a government. These are the primary aim of a government is security of lives and property. You know, it's as simple as that.
Exactly.
I don't know what I can offer to them, but I do know that I don't know why the government is not reacting to this, because it affects us as well. It affects the government.
Exactly.
Let's take a look at the case of the Southeast. When we are having Monday sit at home, it's crippled the economy of the Southeast. So if we are having insecurity issues there in the Middle Belt, in Benue State and other places, it means that people feel unsafe. They stay home.
The economy suffers for it.
People do not go out to trade. People do not go out to live their life. It it's so
It is
sad.
a very sad
And
situation.
I just really pray. I hope that the government, they do something serious about it. We have the military, we have the armed forces. Let them intervene, since they do not need the help of the United States. They say that they are able and they are capable of solving their own
fighting terrorists.
Now, this is the time.
This will be the perfect time, as you said rightfully, Mr. Ogochukwu, for Nigerian government to really show their sovereignty and where they stand when it concerns the life and the properties of the people that they govern. Anyways, we're moving to the final story for the evening as we take a look at a rather interesting video from Omoyele Sowore accusing Senator Ned Woko, husband of Regina Daniels, of alleged cross-border prostitution. Let's have a look.
We found 9 people that had been put in prison by the same Ned Woko from his village. If you guys paid attention to it, there was a time Ned Woko also went and hijacked one lady's father. The lady was crying all over social media that Ned has ruined it. Ned has ruined a lot of lives using the police force. Anybody who is a public figure, who is in political office, our duty first and foremost is to hold them to account, no matter how powerful they are. We have found out also that he has done cross-border prostitution by bringing in underage girls from places like Morocco to Nigeria. These are international sex trafficking crimes. So his license is also our target, that he's not allowed to practice law both in Nigeria and the UK. You must understand that I'm not fighting for Regina Daniels. I'm fighting against abuse of office by a Nigerian senator who is colluding with the Nigeria police and who has had a history of using the police to oppress people. Right? Regina Daniels' issue came to my attention when her husband arrested a TikToker named Timothy Gabriel. His TikTok name is Tuma, because they claim that Tuma accused Regina Daniels of having kids that do not belong to this particular senator. The senator.
All right, we just saw that video from Omoyele Sowore accusing Senator Ned Woko of abusing office and using the Nigerian police for his personal business. Now, he also he accused him of cross-border prostitution, bringing in young girls from Morocco to Nigeria, underage young girls from Morocco to Nigeria for prostitution purposes. Now, before I give the mic to you, Ifoma, we also saw recently the brother of Ned Woko, who came out publicly to call his brother out, has also come out to urge Regina Daniels to spill the beans on Ned Woko, urging her to not hold back, even going as far as accusing the senator of murder of a particular blessing and a particular Okada rider. But all of these allegations, do you think that they might hold any water in the long run, Ifoma?
They are not holding water right now, so there's no guarantee that it will hold water in the long run, because I am yet to hear from the presidency on possible probe into all these allegations and accusations.
The presidency is on the Regina Daniels matter.
Not, I'm talking about Ned Woko. A lot of persons have come out to talk about land grabbing. A lot of persons have come out to talk about the intimidation by this.
I just don't think it's the office of the presidency to probe into situations like that.
A probe into this, because he works for the government. So why is it that his activities or his whatever he's doing is not being probed into? That's the problem I have. And I think with what Omoyele Sowore is saying right now, I think there's an atom of truth in it, because his wife that he's married to, his Moroccan wife, he married her quite, early. So there's possibility that there is, this kind of activity going on that is just coming out in the open right now. So I think the authorities should actually probe into this matter and bring this man to book if possible.
Found guilty.
Yes, if found guilty, he should actually face the full wrath of law, because this case has really gone. It has come far.
Right.
It has come far. I'm not talking about the marriage saga, but I'm talking about other activities of his that is illicit and is immoral.
Exactly. Now, if he is found guilty, he should be prosecuted as such. But let's get your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Ogochukwu.
What I feel, if we are going to continue talking about this, then it is high time the government recognize the family of Ned Woko as a family of particular concern. Honestly, then more importantly, on the issue of abuse of power, you know, I think if the people who are alleging that he has grabbed their land or done anything in one way or the other to them, I urge them to go to the court and file a suit against Ned Woko. No, filing a suit is not expensive. Filing a suit is coming to prove that suit is But if actually they are honest with what they are saying, they can request for damages.
I'm telling you that it's not for everybody. There is this man that died. I think when we talked about it as it day hot. This man that died in Ned Woko's house, nothing has been done, no investigation, no proof, nothing at all. That was how they covered that same yes, allegedly. And then there were other people. I remember one particular woman that Ned Woko was said to have grabbed her land, and she's quite, aged. So how is she supposed to know that, oh, there is something like tolling the path of law, there is something like going to court or anything like that? Maybe she doesn't even have anybody in her community that will advise her to actually pursue the case legally.
Is that if they want to get any form of justice at all, you can't get it outside of the court. It is still the court that would have the legal jurisdiction to grant that.
Okay, what I want to say, because you mentioned the presidency, I don't think it is it would come from the presidency.
As a security force.
But I think since Ned Woko is a serving senator in Nigeria, we request for a probe into his activities by the Senate committee. That's the best thing because.
And what Omoyele Sore is saying is that his license be revoked, his license to practice law in the United Kingdom and also back in Nigeria. But anyways, this is going to be a discussion for the court. If truly this is true and they have been able to prove that this actually happened, I think that the law should carry out its full power and give justice to whom it's due. Anyways, this is where we're going to call it a wrap on the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Ogochukwu Afuba and Ifoma Oji, my co-host, for joining me on the show today. If you're joining for the first time, this is Active Citizens Parliament, and we do this Mondays through Fridays. If you're yet to subscribe to our show, please endeavor to do so and follow us across all social media platforms. Ifoma.
You can find me on Facebook as Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Misolex.
Mr. Ogochukwu.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Ogochukwu Afuba.
All right, my name is Sharon and then Chuku, your host for the show. Till we come your way again later tomorrow. Do have a great evening.